Yo, what's up, guys? Solid win today for Milan against Lecce, defeating them 1-0. Now, guys, how are we feeling about this game today that Milan played against Lecce? Now, obviously, a bit of a tight game, of course. Lecce playing a low block, tight defensive team, after holding Inter to only a 1-0 defeat, Lecce not getting absolutely destroyed. I knew today was going to be a very similar match for Milan today against Lecce. After how they played against Inter, I knew Lecce was going to play a tight defensive game. Milan was going to have to try to beat a low block by Lecce. And that first half that Milan had, I think we can all agree, wasn't a great first half. We saw Ricci and Jashari starting with Rabiot in the midfield. We saw the same defensive line with De Winter, Gabbia and Fick, Magnan and Net, obviously. We saw Leao and Pulisic up top with Salamakers, of course, on the right, and surprisingly enough, Estupiñán on the left. Now, obviously, like I mentioned, guys, not a beautiful first half by Milan. Obviously a lot of misplaced passes, not very many opportunities on net. It was a little bit of a frustrating first half, a very back and forth, I would say. Milan had a lot of the possession, but we're doing nothing with it, wasting a lot of opportunities, getting into the final third, not bearing any chances, very frustrating. A lot of things that we've been seeing with Milan this year against smaller clubs. Of course, we've all seen how Milan have struggled against small clubs, especially recently against teams like Genoa and Fiorentina. So this game here gave us fans a little bit more worrying signs that it's like, oh God, it's going to be one of those games again where Milan's going to have to find a little bit of individual brilliance to find a way to break down Lecce. But that first half was just not good at all. Everybody looked flat. They looked stagnant again. It was just the first 20 minutes was not very good. You got guys like Estupiñán turning the ball over again. That guy there just makes me very nervous on the left side of the defense there. Just hasn't shown us Milan fans any certainty, any confidence at all that he could come in and replace Bartosagi and have a strong game. I didn't think he had that good of a performance today. He had a better second half, I felt, but just not a great performance in general for a guy that Milan spent over 18 million euros on. So we'd like to see better performances from Estupiñán. Just looks scared, just looks like he doesn't want any time on the ball at all, just wants nothing to do with the ball at all, looks completely scared of it at times. But I will say that Milan were better in the second half. Allegri clearly got into them at halftime, clearly told them that we're playing too frantic, we're not bearing any opportunities, we're not connecting on any through balls or any passes. That's what we saw in the first half, just really not an entertaining first half at all, just a very flat first half to say the least, guys. I think we can all agree on that. But second half I thought was way better. Milan were pushing high, dominating more possession-wise, more into Lecce's half, more into their final third, getting more chances on net. Milan had a phenomenal opportunity, 10, 15 minutes into the half where beautiful link-up play, where Leao gets a beautiful ball, and then he puts in a great through ball to Pulisic. I think Estupiñán was the one who put the pass to Leao. I forgot who put in the pass to Rafa, but then Rafa puts in a great through ball to Christian Pulisic. And Pulisic again, guys, holy shit, for the second time in 3 games, has a golden opportunity and cannot bloody bury it, Really frustrating to see Christian Pulisic, the guy who we have known, who has been nothing but a certainty when it comes to finishing chances. The last 2 games that he has played, and obviously didn't play in the game against Como, not bearing another opportunity that easily should have buried. Falcone makes a great save, but if I was Pulisic, I'm burying that shit. I'm hammering it top shelf. He tries to curl it around Falcone with not enough power. Falcone makes a great save. Don't get me wrong. That guy there was making Milan's life very difficult, to say the least. But Pulisic's got to bury that chance there. Really frustrating opportunity there. The Milan does not finish, of course. Then we saw Nicholas Füllkrug come into the game. We saw Ruben Loftus-Cheek come into this game. Cheek had a great opportunity as well. Rabiot squared him in front of the net there, but unfortunately, Cheek squandered the opportunity, completely missed the shot there and couldn't score there, unfortunately. But then we saw, not too long later on, Milan get one phenomenal opportunity. Gabbia puts in a great chip through ball in to Salamakers, and Salamakers is able to cross the ball in right before, as we saw, go over the line. And Nicholas Füllkrug scores a great header, great finish by the German to get his first goal for Milan, guys. Great cross-in by Salamakers. Great through ball in by Mattia Gabbia. Just a spectacular goal by Milan. I think we can all agree, guys, that Leao and Pulisic up top, they don't give us that poacher, that number 9 in the box, a guy that can finish the opportunities like Fulkrug did there. I guarantee you that if Fulkrug wasn't in this game today, neither Leao or Pulisic are in that spot in the box to bury that opportunity there. Fulkrug was a great addition so far. He has been really positive in the cameos that he's come into play. I've really liked what I've seen from Nicholas Fulkrug. His hold-up plays good. He's made some good passes, gets in the right spots, and he buries the opportunity there that Salamakers puts in. I thought Salamakers had a solid game today, puts in that great cross for the assist there, and Fulkrug buries one of the very few opportunities that Milan had in the second half. But Milan had other chances as well. You had Gabbia, who had 3 really good headers that he could not bury. Very frustrating to see a guy like Gabbia, who easily had 3 free headers and couldn't bury one. So that was a couple golden opportunities missed. Pulisic had the chance there, and Fulkrug buried his opportunity there. But then we saw Christopher Nkunku come into the game later on, and he had a couple great chances. After Modric came into the game for Jashari, Modric put in a great ball for Nkunku. Unfortunately, he screwed that up there. And then Nkunku had another golden opportunity in front of the net there, but he shot it right at Falcone. So there was some good chances that Milan could have extended the lead, had a couple more goals. But I think we can all agree, guys, the main thing is that Milan were able to seal the victory, get the 3 points, 20 games unbeaten now for Milan, guys. The first time Milan have done that since 92, 93. Great things to see from Milan. Now, obviously, we've had some performances that have been frustrating, but Milan are able to get the job done today, get the 3 points. Great job by the squad today. Some solid performances today, guys. Like I mentioned, the Fulkrug played well. Adrien Rabiot, this guy here is an absolute beast in the midfield. I don't know where we would be without a guy like Adrien Rabiot in the midfield. He has been immense for Milan today. Immense again for him today. I thought Ricci and Jashari, they played well today. They had a couple misplaced passes, but they recovered well. I liked one recovery that Jashari had where he tracked back all the way back at the Milan's defensive lines there and was able to recover a ball. Really liked what I saw from Jashari and some moments in this game. Had some good passes as well. So did Ricci. So I thought the midfield was good at times in this game today. Pulisic had that frustrating moment. He didn't do very much of this game today, Christian Pulisic. A little bit frustrating by him. You can see Rafael Leao, guys, by the way he's running. This guy here clearly has an abductor issue. Allegri has stated it. This guy here cannot run. It's very evident that he can't make those darting runs, but Leao's still finding ways to contribute, putting that great through ball to Pulisic. Still a great facilitator. Had some chances that were blocked, unfortunately, but having Rafa at 60%, it's obviously good to have him on the field and still being productive, but it's obviously not great because obviously there's some concerns that Rafa could hurt himself even more and be out an extended period of time. And we can't lose Rafael Leao right now. But maybe he can get some rest now for this next week off that they have until they play Roma next Sunday. So that's good. Milan's going to get some rest. Pavlovic as well didn't play today. He had those 9 stitches in his head. So hopefully Pavlovic is ready to go for the game against Roma, guys. So luckily enough, Pavlovic got some rest. A good performance again by Coney De Winter. I thought he played well. Gabbia played well again, even though he pissed me off by squandering those opportunities. Tomori, thought he played well. Obviously Tomori misplaced a couple passes here and there, but I think Fick had an okay game. Salamakers, I thought, was one of the standout performances today. So was Nicholas Fulkrug. Nkunku had some great chances. Some solid opportunities for Milan today, guys. Like I said, could have extended the lead even more, but the main thing is 20 games unbeaten, 3 more points, guys. Milan are still able to stay right behind Inter. You got a massive, massive game coming up against Roma, guys. Things are looking solid for Milan right now after coming off those 2 ties to Genoa and Fiorentina. You beat Como on the road. Obviously, some people are saying it's one of the biggest injustices this season. That's hilarious to me. Fabregas bitching and all that other stuff about 700 passes to 200. But at the end of the day, guys, I think we could all agree that 3 points is obviously the main objective. Allegri has stated that many, many times. He has done a hell of a job with this team this year, guys. What can we say more about what Max Allegri's done with this squad? Obviously the team's not that deep right now. He's had to rotate a little bit as we saw in today's game, but he has done a hell of a job keeping Milan in the top 4, second place. You're 7 points from 5th. easily in the top 4 spot right now. Milan are playing some good culture right now, guys. Let's see how they play on their game against Roma, guys. You get a week off as well now. That's great to see. Obviously, there's some news about Milan bringing back from Francesco Camarda from his loan from Lecce because he hurt his shoulder. So that's great to hear as well. Adding another body because, with Leao, Pulisic, Fulkrug still got a broken toe. Give the guy some credit, battling through a busted toe these last 2 games, and he has been very helpful for Milan. Obviously, getting 3 points today. Absolutely immense warrior attitude by a guy like Fulkrug. You bring back Camarda just in case as an extra body. If somebody does get hurt, he'll play in the Futuro right now until he gets obviously recovered from his shoulder injury, of course. So great to have Camarda back as well, guys. That's great to see. Milan are obviously talking about looking for another defender, an opportunity in the market. We'll see what happens there. Mike Maignan is very, very close to extending his contract till June 2031. So that's fantastic news to get Maignan back on a well-deserved salary, close to 7 million euros, right up there with Rafael. Hopefully we hear some news about Magnan's extension being done in the next week. Let's see if Milan can get to rest, because, I saw Salamaker's leaving the game holding his groin. Jashari was doing the same thing. Leal doesn't look 100%. So hopefully those guys get 100%. Pulisic didn't play against the Como game, came off 60 minutes in, 60, 70 minutes in. So hopefully he gets some rest. So if everybody's ready to go for the game against Rome after we beat them at home 1-0. We got a return leg there in Rome. That's going to be a difficult game, guys. We'll love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on Milan's game today, guys. So if you like this video, subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Forza Milan sempre, as always, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Rock Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.